So, Jordan, I guess I'm Andy Dittman. I'm a detective from La Crosse Police.
Okay.
And Tom Johnson works for the Sheriff's Department here.
Sure.
And you know who that was, right? Ryan Martin.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure you knew who he was.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to, like he said, kind of go through your involvement, what information you can provide to us, and have you had an opportunity to look at the criminal complaint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I did.
And who's been identified in that? So.
Actually, he sat through the prelims too.
Okay.
He watched
A little bit of it.
Okay.
When they brought the interpreter, I was just like, I left.
Okay. Yeah. So really, what we want to kind of get from you is, like you said, I guess when this started for you. I mean, do you want to just kind of start there? And
I mean, back when I first started using and selling.
Mostly when you started selling and working through this group of people that have been identified.
I had like 2011, but it wasn't strictly just them. I would pick up from whoever, really.
Okay.
It wasn't like an exclusive, like, they're my supplier per se. It was just who had it when I wanted it, you know.
And who were you getting from?
From
this group? From Yia?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know him as Ice?
Yeah,
Then
I
too?
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you think about 2011?
Yeah.
And what would you get from him when you picked up?
It was like a ball or two, but I was using so heavy that it's just like I have to open up the whole door again because I've been clean and doing this for so long. It's just opening up the door to my old life, and it sucks, but it's like a ball or two, and it'd be like every other couple days maybe, you know, and I was using so heavy that basically I was just making enough money to re-up per se, and then just go right back into the downward spiral of getting high again. And then, I mean, 2011, it was like the summer, because I have my incarceration dates. And when I got out in 2012, in April 20th, I got out in 2012, and I had I think it was a case with ecstasy. I had caught possession with intent with 6 pills, and I immediately just went on the run, and I got sentenced, and just went on the run right away in 2012. It was probably my worst year. I was basically just not caring about myself. I was picking up more in that summer. I was picking up half ounces, you know. But I just was supplying myself and my ex-girlfriend at the time and some of our friends, per se. And then it got to the point where she left me and went into the battered women's house because I was using so much. And
Who was that?
Trisha Abbott.
Trisha Abbott Matthews?
Yeah, that was my ex-girlfriend when I was using really bad. And it's like maybe like a half. I can't put a time frame on it, like how often it was. But I mean, I upped from 2 and went to a half, and it was about the same time frame. You know, it was every other couple days. You know, and it was just living to get high. It wasn't even about money to me. It was just I didn't care about nothing because I knew I was on the run. My probation officer said I was going to prison anyways, so I was just trying to do whatever I could, you know, just to get high, you know. And then 2012 I got arrested in July, and I sat in prison until September of 2013. I got out in September 2013. I was at the attic, and I would see Ice around at places, and I would either get high with him, and I wasn't really trying to sell again. I was trying to wean off. I was working at Taco Bell's and Artie's, but I mean, I just did 14 months, so I was trying to get out. But then by the time November hit, I was just fighting with my ex-girlfriend, with Trisha again, and then I just said, forget it. Started getting high again, picking up a ball, maybe not even sometimes, and just getting wrecking myself, and came to the point where it was in January of 2014 I got arrested. I was on the run again, selling just enough to re-up, kind of, just that was it from then. And I got arrested in January of 2014 and sat until May of 2014. My PO gave me an ATR to the attic again, and at that time I got out. I got a job at the brewery through Express, working the brewery, and I was using, but I wasn't picking up from just picking up from whoever had. I wasn't even making enough money to even sell. Just trying to live at the attic, get out of my ATR, and get high all at the same time, kind of thing. Like trying to manipulate the system again, and it just epic fail. I got arrested June 8th and was put back in, and I was accepted into drug court, and then accepted into drug court. That's when I gave it a real shot to not sell or use. And I was probably about November, I talked to Jenny, and Jenny was, she was using, I could tell, but she wouldn't do it around me because she respected the fact that I was trying to be clean. And I would see her here and there, but it wasn't anything there was no drugs involved. There was nothing. It was more it was sexual based, really. You know what I mean? It wasn't. She was a friend before. We had a relationship a little bit, and that's what that was again in drug court. And then I know that
Was she in drug court then?
she wasn't in drug
Okay.
court. I was in drug court,
Okay.
but I was I could just tell something was off.
Yeah.
Jenny, who?
Wilbur.
Rhonda Wilbur.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could just tell something was off. And then there was a day when I was at her place, and I was I just knew something was up because Yia came over, hadn't seen him since I've been in drug court, and then they go to the back room. 10 minutes later, come out, and then he leaves, and I'm you know what? This probably is not the best scenario for me because I just knew from hearing from the grapevine that they were out here, when I was in jail before I got accepted into drug court. You know who's out here when you've done it. You know who you can talk to, you know who you can pick up from. And it was I knew I'd started taking steps back because I didn't want to be communicated like that or being thrown in on that. And in February I got arrested. I picked up a friend from on the north side, and that Detective Malat came and said that he had heard that I was throwing ounces while in drug court, and I'm no, that's not even close to being right because I can't even be around the shit. Okay, I can't be around the stuff and not use. That's not gonna happen for me. It did when I first started doing it, and then it just progressively got so much worse. And I don't like to talk about it, and I know it's a serious charge and I have to talk about it because it's right here. I knew that there was something going on, and I got arrested in February, and he had came and approached me. I knew that me hanging out with Jenny was throwing me in a mix in some way that I didn't know that I was being thrown into. So I cut all my ties, and I talked to my PO, and I talked to drug court about it. Like, never denied the fact that, like, I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have been talking to these people. I just didn't come out right and be like, hey man, like, what's going on with all the shit? Like, that's not my agenda. And I just know that now here I sit, stuck in the mix with this. And I got ice saying that I'm throwing ounces. I mean, back when, not any time of recent. So
Well, when you say back when, what would you say when that was?
the summer of 2012 was my time to shine, or not, back when, I guess, like, that was just.
So at that time, you were dealing with ice primarily? When you
Back
say
in
you were
2012.
throwing ounces?
Yeah, it
Is
was
that-
with ice.
And that was pretty accurate at that time then?
Not the ounces. I mean, the way he's making it sound in here is like I was going every single day, like picking up an ounce every day, coming back every day, and that wasn't even accurate for me. It was like half ounce, maybe every 2-3 days, maybe I'd come pick up an ounce, you know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't just exclusively through him. I was going through other sources too. It was whoever had it the cheapest.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like I was.
What was ice charging you for an ounce?
Back when, Jesus, like 1,800 to $2,000.
Okay.
That was back then. I don't know what it is now.
That was in summer of 2012.
Yeah.
Did you ever get from, if ice was gone, get from Goof?
See, that's the whole thing. Is like we never really dealt with each other like that. Like, we were always afraid of each other, that we were gonna like rip each other off, or
You and Goof?
yeah.
Were afraid of it?
Well, it was just like, if I get from him, is he gonna just rob me for my money? Because of his stature and the business or whatever. So I didn't really go. I just went really with ice because it was so much.
Did you ever buy from Goofy?
I haven't bought from Goofy.
What, explain his stature in the business? What
Well, it's just like, I guess you hear his name and you just feared about it, because you just heard about him, like, it was nothing like to hurt you, but it's just like, you may get your money back, you may not, you may get product, you may not, and that's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to use it, and that was it. If I got my shit took, then I'm out money. Some of my friends are probably out money, and then here I am. I have to figure out a way to get high again, and like, that's. I guess I wasn't trying to venture out like that.
But was it common fact to you, known to you, that Goofy was part of the business? I mean, you could have gone to him if you had wanted to.
I couldn't even have, because like the way that they had it set up is like if that's your person you go to, that's who you go to. It's not you go here and there. If they're gone, you just sit and you have to wait.
So you were one of Yia's guys, is what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Back then, yeah.
Okay.
What about John?
John was very quiet. I didn't even know he was selling like this until I read this. I didn't even see him out there or anything. So I was like, that came news to me, I guess. I didn't even know he was here. I'd heard they all moved to North Carolina, and then that was it.
Did Jenny ever talk to you about John at all?
Jenny never really. When I go see Jenny, it was more like she would see me sober, and I was like, I'd try to not steer her, because she was going NA and shit with me, and I was like, I knew she was struggling, and it was like I was in a better place, and I was like, I kept trying to like not be a caretaker, but I was like somebody that actually knew and actually cared about. She had kids, and I knew her kids, and I was like, can't be doing this shit, like shit's got to stop. And then it's like it progressed, and I'm just like, cut the ties. I was like, I can't be in there like this. I can't help you or support you when it's just not going to be beneficial.
Okay. You need to, I hope you have a good understanding that you still have the support of the drug court team and they want to see you succeed, but I feel like based on some things that Jenny has said and obviously what you has said, that you were either getting from Jenny during this time leading up to probably this November 2013 time, January, when you were in and around Jenny, that you were getting from either her or ICE.
In November?
Well, it would have been, I'm trying to remember like when you got arrested. When was that?
January 10th.
January. So it would have been during probably between November and that time that he got arrested in January 2015.
That I was picking up. I wasn't picking up though.
Okay. Why do you think that they would identify you as having like, yeah, this is one of the people that?
I don't know. Like with you, I thought maybe it's because I was seeing Jenny and that trying to get her off of it. I don't know why he was doing that.
Okay.
I really don't.
You gotta tell the truth now.
Yeah, it's, there's two other people's statements that are contradictory to what you're saying, and so what I want to get to is the root of it, like, because if you were, it's not going to make a whole lot of more difference, yay or nay, when it comes down to it, because you're already caught up
Right.
in this,
Right.
and to be forthcoming and saying, yeah, I was doing this and doing this, but then like we get to this point in it where like people are giving details about what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for you to be forthcoming up through all this other stuff and talk about 2012, and then, I'm doing balls or half zips and stuff like that, but like, when we get to this information, I'm just trying to get to why they would say that if it's not accurate. So,
I don't know as far as ICE. It's more like, I don't even know why he would just be throwing me under the bus kind of thing, but...
Okay.
The thing you want to remember, Jordan, is you need to be truthful, because we've got all those people on that list we've got information on, about, possibly from. Okay? Since the arrest, you're the first one to sit in the chair. Okay? So you're in a really good position. But what he's trying to say to you is that we know the truth. We know what we 99.9% believe to be the truth. So when you're telling us stuff, we're asking you questions that we probably already know the answers to. And it's our way of testing you to see if you are truthful.
Right.
If you're not truthful, we're going out the door, because we're not going to waste your time, your attorney's time, or our time.
Yeah.
Okay? So you need to back up here and think about some of the things you've already told us. There is no benefit to you to try and protect Jennifer Rondeau Wilbur, to try and protect John, Goof, any of those people. If you have some concerns about talking about them, put them on the table and let us know. Okay?
My concerns is that this case is gonna affect my housing, my situation with living at home, because I got accepted into city housing.
Okay.
So I don't know how this plays out as far as charges and getting kicked out. I just had a kid. I got 4 kids. My families came at me and said that they're concerned for their well-being because of this. They,
There's a lot of concern, because this is a really serious case.
Right.
Okay, and we can't take the eraser and wipe anything off.
I get that.
In terms of your city housing.
Right.
Again, he just said, you have a lot of support.
And that can be, I know the head of city housing, and I know that Ann and Emma are going to be advocates for you when it comes to that kind of stuff, but it's really going to balance on whether or not, there's details that or evidence that contradicts something that you say to us. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be like, well, he was forthcoming up to a point, but it looks like, this other evidence or these other witness statements really show that there was more to it, and then that's how much they're going to advocate for you to help you out.
Sure.
And I know that Matt will go to bat for you. We've already talked about it in our office, but it's just that we have to know that there wasn't something that was left out.
You can't have any skeletons. There can't be any skeletons pop up a week, 2 weeks, a month down the road.
Right. I mean, I guess in drug court, because if I say anything about drug court, then I'm gonna get kicked out about anything.
Well,
Like they want to make sure that my involvement wasn't in drug court
okay, I gotcha.
because it's in limbo. Like it's
But you're
Like-
set to graduate, right?
they won't graduate until there's resolve with the case, and they've said that. So it's like there's a set time where if this case goes through, then
Well, how do you feel like where you're at? Do you feel like you were successful in drug court?
I feel like I was successful. Absolutely, I do.
Okay, well, you got that then.
Right, but I mean, if I could, if
If you're doing stuff while you're in drug court, that's your concern that would be exposed, and
exposed, and then I'm getting expelled, you know, and then I'm doing prison anyways, you know. So it's
I don't think that that's a likely scenario. I mean, I could talk to Brian and Jess Skemp from drug court about
Right.
that if you want, to see like what their thoughts are. I mean, I know when I covered for Matt for 3 weeks, and we talked about your case, and the consensus was to just wait on your graduation not until the case was resolved, but until this wasn't such a high profile thing in the paper. Like drug court candidate is charged in a conspiracy
Yeah.
case. Like that's what they were trying to
avoid. Yeah, and that's. I just saw Ann yesterday, and she had said that basically she talked to the team last Thursday, and that everybody wants a disposition on the case before they even think about a graduation scenario. So it's like,
I guess the other side of that coin is too, though, that like there is this conspiracy case aside from the drug court case, and that type of exposure. I mean, I don't know what you're looking at, but
Just from my aspect here, looking at that, I would be more fearful of this conspiracy exposure
that's
than I would whatever your drug court case was. And I don't frankly remember. I looked at it one time. I don't recall.
well, I mean, my drug court. I mean, I got arrested 2 days prior to graduation, and
Right, but I mean, what you're in drug court for can't possibly be as serious as your exposure.
no, it's like half. It's like 20 years.
Okay.
But so expose. That's what I'm worried about. Is this whole thing with drug court, with the exposure from there and here. It's going to go 2 ways for me.
So are you saying that there's information hypothetically involving other members of this family that you're maybe holding back on because of your fear for the drug court thing?
I mean, in some ways. I mean, in drug court, I saw deals go down.
Okay.
I didn't partake as far as selling, but I definitely knew that there was shit going on.
Sure.
You know, like it wasn't like I was some major player out here doing some shit, but I was able to see what was going on and what was available to me if I wanted it. I chose differently because I can't do it. I didn't want to do it. I mean, they definitely asked me if I wanted in. I couldn't do it. Hell yeah, it sounded nice, but it's not what I was trying to achieve. I had a kid coming. I'm struggling with my own sobriety, you know, but it wasn't anything like I was picking up and selling and dropping money off. Like I knew Ice. I mean, I sold Ice some electronics because I knew he was out here making money, so I just sold him some iPads and some other like laptops and shit where I knew I could like double up on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew that there was meth there. It just, like, me saying that I'm throwing work for him, that kind of pisses me off, because it's not...
Well, and that is what it is. What he said is on paper. You don't have any control over that. We don't have any control over that.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's his word against your word.
Right.
Okay, so let's put that on the shelf. We wouldn't debate that all day long.
Right.
It's not going to do us any good. So are you saying that during the time you were on drug court, you were not dealing?
I wasn't dealing it in drug court time.
Okay.
I would see Jenny, and she would go over to their house. I wasn't even allowed in the house because I'm in drug court.
Their house meaning
God, where was it?
Redfield Street.
on Redfield?
There
The
it is.
little red house? Or
Uh,
the,
It was like down the street from the laundromat.
okay.
Yeah.
Who was living there?
She had said that Ice was living there. God, who else? Chris was living there.
Okay.
And she would go over there and then come back out, and I would take her back home. And I knew something was up. You know, I just didn't want to, like, be in it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it
So
was...
you got a personal relationship with Jenny Rondeau Wilbur.
Right.
She needs a ride to go over to Vang's house
Yeah.
to pick up. You know she's picking up.
Right.
Okay. You're not getting a piece of that action? Or
I
what?
wasn't, no.
Okay. So you're facilitating her rides back and forth,
Yeah.
but you're not dealing.
Right.
Did you do any selling while you were in drug court?
I wasn't doing any selling in drug court.
Okay.
I knew that it was all available, but I wasn't.
Okay. So did we.
Right. Well, yeah, I know. Right. And that's the whole thing is, like, I knew that me going over there and then that happening in February, that I just got thrown into some shit that here I go, you know?
So after Ice got arrested and she was going over there, who was she picking up from, do you think?
After Ice got arrested, I don't even, that's when it all pretty much stopped with contact with her and I. Like, I don't know what happened. It was, like, odd. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to her, everything was fine, and then, like, it was just like she, like, I knew something was up. Like, something happened with her. Like, that she had either A, gotten in trouble and doesn't want to talk to me for some reason, or what the case is. I would assume that it would have been Chris because he was living there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who else would have moved in. Maybe John. I don't know.
So you were never in that house yourself?
I've been in that house in
In the
Redfield
past.
in the past.
Okay.
I mean, I went up there with Jenny once. Or, you know, I've been to the house upstairs, but it wasn't, it'd always go off to a back room or go into a bedroom.
You would or they would?
They would.
Okay. Meaning Jenny and...
Jenny and Ice or Jenny and Chris. It just didn't, they didn't do anything in front of me like that.
So just so I'm clear, you said, remember you got out on April 20th, you kind of went on a run, and then it looks like you said you got sentenced in July, you got picked up, sentenced to prison, and
Yeah.
served till September 2013.
Right.
So the time between April and July was kind of when things were
That's when it was really heavy for me.
crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
What about Red?
Man, I've known Red for a long time.
How long have you known Red?
2010?
What part did she play?
You know, she always played it off like her and Goofy were like fighting. You know what I mean? Like, it was like she played like the victim card. And that's why I didn't really talk to Goofy, because it was like I knew Red, and all I would hear is the shit from Red about Goofy. I'm like, well, fuck that shit. You know, like, I'm not going that way. And I haven't seen Red in over a year. I haven't seen her in a while. And I don't know if she's played a part in this. Like, that's, from what I knew, she was going on her own. she was doing her own thing. Like, she had her own people, and I didn't even know she was really tied up into this. So it's like peculiar for me to see her name into this when the last I knew, like, they were always at each other's throats. Like,
Would you ever go through Mel to get from ICE?
I didn't even know Mel. I've never even met Mel, introduced myself to her or anything.
Right. I'm just trying to think who else is in that. Who was identified?
How about Brian Peterson?
Brian Peterson. I don't even know who.
This dude's got this trailer up north of home and out in the woods. Did you ever go up there?
No. Like, that's when it was like dealing with these people. It was like it was hit or miss with them. You know, it was,
Where would you usually meet ICE?
if sometimes just on the road.
Right.
Like, you know, that was, or he'd come to me where I was staying. It was 2012. I was hotel living. You know, that's what I was doing.
I mean, you've obviously read the criminal complaint. You know who ICE identified as like basically the 5 people that he was given
Right.
2 to 3 ounces every day and a half. You being one of them is what he says. But then we got Sam Listina.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk, if they decide to like that they want to talk Nova, Jake Porat, JP, if they're gonna, I mean, are they going to say anything about you?
I don't think so.
Do you
I
know?
mean, maybe. I mean, I know Sam. I know Nova. I mean, I know these. I mean, I know Sam. I know Chris. I know Nova. Jake. I mean, it's just people that I've met. You know, like I was using with Sam, and I used to use with Nova. You know, like I didn't know that they made these steps up to selling shit. I didn't know this. You know.
This guy, I don't really know him. The Justin Kastner, do you know about him?
No. I mean, I know Red, John, Vaughn, Yia, Jenny, and that's it. You know, it's, but I've been using meth exclusively since like 2008, so it's like, of course I ran into everybody out there.
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of where I'm at now is when it comes down to this drug court thing and really wanting to be forthcoming in your apprehension about it, I guess maybe if you want to talk with Pete a little bit, your attorney,
Right.
and see. I mean, my prediction is that something's going to come to light, or
Right.
somebody else, or there'll be evidence that we go through, and it'll be like, okay, well, there was more to it.
Right.
So, and I understand your concerns, and I can share that with Ryan Barton and see what he has to say, but I think he's pretty much going to say the same thing that Tom said, that like your exposure on this case is way more significant than what's going to happen with drug court.
Right.
And I know you want to be successful and you have a lot of support and
Yeah, it's not.
graduate. So.
I'm not gonna like let this affect me, like going back to just saying like forget it, and like cutting off my bracelet and going on the run or nothing. Like that's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm not trying to, you know, like I want to graduate drug court. You know, like that's a big deal for me because I'm not the same person that I used to be, and that's a pretty big deal for me.
And I know they all recognize that, and I'm pretty sure when it comes out, they're going to make accommodations to try to figure something out to make it work, to keep your sobriety like in the front. But I can't make any promises without like I don't really know that group that well. I mean, I know everybody there, but I can't predict what they're going to say.
Right, you can't, like I talked to Ann and she said it's pretty much once this case has some disposition or resolve to it, then they'll come forward with like letting me graduate or not letting me graduate. It's one way or the other. So it's...
And it still looks to me like we've got 2 separate issues here.
Yeah.
I mean, your drug court thing, what I'm seeing here, looking at you, is drug court is at the top of the pinnacle to you. And I
Right.
understand that, and that's really great. We support that. And so does everybody else on the team from the way it looks.
Right.
But you got this nagging problem over here that is much bigger,
Right.
you know, so we're just trying to make sure you got clarity in your thinking here. And your attorney and you can talk about that.
Right.
And you obviously have, or you probably wouldn't be sitting here. But,
Yeah.
you know, I just want to keep throwing that back in there to remember, don't forget that. You know, you're looking at a 40-year felony.
Yeah.
You know, just
I
make
hear
sure you prioritize correctly.
Right.
And don't short yourself on information that might be good for you, you know.
I just don't see what the benefit. I mean, what's the benefit of? I know you had said something about immunity. I don't even know what that is. Like, how is this all going to play
Well,
into?
that's really up to Brian.
That's an issue for the district.
Yeah.
Like,
I know he's willing to work with you, but he needs to hear from us that we're like, okay, yeah, well, I feel comfortable with what he said, that's totally accurate, that nothing's been left out.
Right.
So,
I think they're looking for information, and then they'll talk to Brian, and I imagine he's gonna do something for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here to help. Like, I'm not here to run from this shit no more. Like, I don't have a problem with talking about it. Like,
so yeah, the big sticking points are for me that, like, the things that, yeah, and what's been identified in the criminal complaint said about you during the time that you were in drug court, and then other witness statements who have said things about what you were doing during the time that you were in drug court. I guess so that, and then trying to get over this with you about what you want to do, because I feel like there's more.
I just haven't even. I guess I haven't seen the discovery to even see what's been said. Like, was a thing I wanted to address. It's like I feel like I came in here and it's like I don't even know there's no writing for me to even go off of to even know what's being said. I mean, I get it, it's you saying it, but it's like, that'd be like me saying something. If I got caught selling drugs, I could just say it, any person, and...
Well, and I think your attorney will tell you as well that the criminal complaint is a charging document,
Yeah.
followed up by an information which is maybe a little more comprehensive.
Right.
But if in fact you would go to trial, there's obviously a multitude of information that would probably surface.
Right.
That doesn't have to be included in the criminal.
No, I know that.
You kind of have to take us at face value on that and have some faith in the system that, number one, and we're trying to assure you that we're not here trying to poke it to you. Because we don't have to do that.
Right.
The case has already done what it needs to do to charge you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, we're not after you. You know, I hope you understand that.
This case didn't come about because of the things Yia said when he got arrested.
Right.
It was already in motion, and we already had, and that was just like icing on the cake for us when he decided to talk. But there were other people, and he corroborated all these things that other people were saying that included your name and like amounts and time schedules and stuff like that. And then he came in and said the same thing, and we're like, holy cow, okay.
Right.
So that what I'm saying is that there's more to what just Yia said and people talking about you. But I understand what your concerns are. But you got to kind of weigh it out. Like, look, like, it sucks that this came at the same time as like drug court graduation and like, all that. But the universe is like a strange place the way it works. So you just got to work with what you got. So maybe you want to talk about it with Mr. Kiskin a little bit more. And
yeah, I mean, I guess I want to see the discovery. I mean, it's a big deal. Like, I get this. This is not, like, I get this. And it's like, I don't have a problem with it, but I want to make sure, like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I don't want to just be out here telling. I've never been in a position to even tell on anything. And it's like...
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, this has never happened. I would never have done this before. I'd just lawyer up and go do what I got to do. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm sick of running from it.
No.
So...
Well, I think what we could do is we could take a break. But I can talk to Brian about kind of how things went today. And then just maybe we could get back together when you feel you're ready if you want to talk some more.
Right.
But just understand in the interim, other people, I mean, I had a meeting before this morning at 8 o'clock this morning, and it's likely that other people might be coming to be interviewed and
Right.
sharing information. I just don't want to be like, well, look, he only said that after so-and-so said this, you know.
Right.
It's just the reality of things, so.
Right.
So.
Well, what do you think? Should,
Do you
I
guys
think
want
we
to
should
talk?
tell everything right now. First up, because he's the one who's going to get the benefit.
Alright. Well,
This is your chance.
We can go back, I mean, so we were talking about like this November. When did you start drug court?
September, drug
Okay.
court.
So 2013?
Yeah,
2014?
2014.
Okay.
In drug court, first month, didn't do anything. Hung out with Jenny. Christmas time comes about, got a kid on the way, in school full time. I'm just feeling the financial pressures with having a kid, Christmas, all that. So I start picking up like ball or two. And it was like literally a ball and it's gone. It wasn't to have it, it was strictly to make some cash for myself.
What were you selling like a ball for?
Like 220, something, 220.
What were you getting?
160, 170, depending on how much they used that day, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay.
You know how much they needed, it just varied. And that was going on when somebody would call me and say, can I get some? Like, yeah, sure. Quick 60 bucks, sure, why not? And that's all I viewed it as. And watching Jenny go over to E's house, picking up, and that's what I was doing, was just going over there. She'd pick up and I would sell what I needed to, you know. And that, it wasn't every day. It was as the time came, or like when I'd get a phone call. Like this thing where it's saying like I'm throwing ounces per day, that was not close.
So did she have her own action going too then?
She had her own
She'd
action,
get a half, you'd maybe get a half O.
and she would
You'd
let
pick
me
a
get
couple
a
balls.
right.
Okay.
That right.
Yeah.
She'd pick up, she'd pick up a zip, and she would have it, and I would call if I needed one or two. You know, just
Sure.
that's
One or
what.
two zips or one or two balls?
Just one or two balls. You know, like if I
Okay.
needed a ball, boom, I can call, and then I know it's there. You know, I don't have to deal with the drama. You know, it's just there.
When did you start going to ice directly?
God, what do I want to say? It's not what I want to say. I'm trying to rethink because it's been a while. I got told her, I want to say like December. Yeah, I want to say like December before Christmas.
Okay. And how would that go?
It would go like he would, because Jenny, she would be high, and sometimes I'd answer the phone, so I said, hey, can I just call you? And that's how that worked, you know, like it was just easy. He was just, we've done this before, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's just different. I'm not getting high this time. I'm just here just to make money off it now, you know, and that's, you know, that was pretty much the nature of it. There wasn't like, let's hang out, or, you know, it was like strictly business, you know, it's,
Would you get from anybody else over there if ice wasn't around?
like, I couldn't.
Okay.
It was,
Are those girls that stayed over there, like Barb and
Dude, I saw those girls. I don't even know.
Alex, all them girls?
I knew Alex was there, but then there was like other little girls that I didn't even. I don't know who they were, you know.
You never got from any of those guys?
No, I just strictly.
And that continued until what happened after he got arrested?
That was it.
You didn't start going through Chris or anything?
No, that was it.
So he gets arrested in January of 15.
Yeah.
On the 10th of January,
Yeah.
so he got arrested. So what was your source after that then?
I stopped.
You stopped selling it?
I stopped all the way across because I knew it was bad. You know, like he gets arrested, I'm like, well, I'm done. And then in February, that's when I like really put forward going to school full time, you know. And
What'd you get arrested for in February?
it was, I'd pick somebody up at, God, what was it? You know where the Jefferson School is? Yeah, man, like one of my friends had called me. Yeah, man, like I dropped him off and then I went to Burger King and I get home and I was going literally to meet Ann and go to school and he's like, hey man, I need a ride. And I'm like, all right, I'll pick you up. We got picked up, boom, block later we're pulled over because it's a drug house. So I'm like, here we go with this shit. And that's when Matt came to me and I said, no, I wasn't. You know, I wasn't doing anything because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to happen in drug court. I get it. I get the nature of this and I need to talk about it. Whatever happens with drug court happens. You know, like I can't walk around with a burden like that, man.
So what you said earlier about you were pretty well linked to ICE. In other words, whoever was doing this had to go to their person, kind of.
It was like each person had their own group, you know. And it's like you couldn't just, if they were gone, you couldn't just call them. And I didn't even have their numbers. I only had his number. You know?
How did you figure that out? Just through word of mouth, like that you could never call John or Goof or? I understand why you wouldn't call Goof, but.
Well, it's like it was established. Like it was like you come to me, like you know, like that's. Because I didn't know what they were doing. If they were all going all together to the same people, I wasn't linked up like that. You know, like knowing any of the inner workings of shit like that. But
did Gia tell you, like, you just come to me?
Pretty much. Like, just call me if you need something. Like, that's it. You know, like, and it was either call Jenny or call ICE, and that was it to me. It wasn't. I was in drug court. You know, I wasn't trying to be out there or be seen by people that I don't want my name out there again, that I'm out here selling drugs again, because I wasn't trying to.
Did Jenny or ICE ever talk about where they were picking up?
I mean, it's I guess being that, like, I used to, like, sell, and it was like you know where it's coming from. You know they're not going to Madison. You know they're going up to the cities. I mean, the east. They're going to the east side. You know, you're going to St. Paul. That's where you go get it.
Did they talk about where in St. Paul or whose place or what building or any of those details?
They never went over details like that in front of me like that. But I mean, to me, it's like I knew. You know, like.
Did you ever trip with them up there?
I've never tripped with them up there. You know, like I've been up there, like. When I'd go up there and they'd be up there, like it'd be like, hey man, let's get high or something, you know, but it wasn't like I went with them to like go pick up or nothing.
Okay. Alright.
But I mean, that's.
So when you got picked up in February, that was a PO hold?
It was a PO hold, yeah. I was in jail for 3 days.
Okay.
I just don't like the amount that I'm being thrown at, like with this case. Like I don't even know if there's a lesser conspiracy, but it's like, for what this is, that's not what I was doing while I was in drug court. Like, I just feel sick talking about it because I know that.
Well, the important thing is that you're truthful, you know. That you're
Yeah, but
truthful.
it's just not.
Hopefully, when you sit back later this afternoon, you'll feel a little bit of release, though. Because you're like, all right, it's all out there on the table.
Yeah, it's just gonna be all bad though.
Well, there's nobody going to ambush you now. You know, if it's on the table and it's truthful.
Yeah, but still, it's like all that work. It's gonna be stripped now, you know. Like that's what. I know what I did though, you know. I just can't run from it, you know.
You still got support.
I mean, that's what they say, and I get it, but it's like it's gonna get.
So back to, you never went to Brian Peterson's trailer?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay.
You know, you know.
No problem.
Yeah, I guess it was in drug court. It was strictly established what I was trying to do.
So between September and January,
It was
Jennifer was,
she
was the one that
facilitated.
facilitated.
She was facilitating, and if she wasn't around, it was like I would call him. But then it came where she was getting so high on heroin, I had to call him.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't. She wouldn't pick up like
sure.
for hours. So I was like, I'd just call him.
And then back when you started in 2011, so between 2011 and September of 2014, you were in the game, but not necessarily exclusive to
I was never been exclusive except like
September to... or-
except this time. Like it was
Right.
kind of like because I felt like I could trust them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that it was safe. You know, like but.
So you picked up sporadically during that previous time from ICE or...
Yeah, man, it was
whomever.
like so spread. Yeah, it wasn't like there was nothing exclusive about it except like right in this time. Like there was
Anybody in that list that you have there in front of you, did you get from during that original time, 2011 to 2014, other than ICE?
see all these people were using with me back then.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
that's fine.
Like Sam, Nova, Jake, they were all using. It wasn't like they were even trying to sell.
So you had other sources.
I did have other, yeah, I did.
All right.
Everything's not adding up to you guys, or am I not?
Well, we read so many reports, we're just
Yeah,
sorting and sifting here.
just trying to go through my brain and see if there's any other questions I want to ask you.
You can meet again if you want.
I can totally meet again, man. I just told you.
Okay.
I just let it out.
Is
So
there anything that you're sitting there wondering why we haven't asked you that you would just soon get out now while you're talking about everything else?
what do you mean, like?
Well, there's something that you're thinking, gee, I wonder why they haven't asked me that, or I wonder if they're gonna bring this up. Is there anything we've forgotten that you know?
Not that I know
I
of.
know that's a pretty wide open question, but
Well, like who are my other sources? You know what I mean? Like, of course, like shit
Yeah,
like that.
sure.
But I mean, like,
I'm not worried about that right now.
no,
that's not our target today.
like, not really. Like, maybe like why I was doing it. I don't know. I can't even answer that. I don't even know why I was doing it. I knew.
Well, it sounds like you got caught up with Jenny, and then you needed some money around Christmas and all that, and then
That's
just spiraled out.
that's what it was, man. It was.
Plus, it's just part of the lifestyle. It's part of, I mean, you know that going through drug court, that there's probably a little bit of excitement with it, all that, with addiction.
Right, like, oh,
You know?
I'm still accepted by these people even though I'm sober and all that type of shit, you know, like, I don't know, man.
Alright. Alright, yeah, I think if something comes up, we'll be in touch with you, but I appreciate both of you guys' time coming down today.
Yep.
And we'll share what was talked about with Brian, and he'll communicate with you, Pete, and know what's going on.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
You're right.
Do you need a few minutes? You wanna use the room?
I'm cool. I'm alright.
Okay.